For those that don't know me, I'm Jeannie Richards, and I'm chair of the resident council here in Riverwoods, Durham. We're going to start this afternoon's all-resident meeting with some updates from the resident council. So I'm going to start with Celebrate 250, and that's the committee that's working on celebrating our anniversary and birthday as a nation. So the first planning meeting is going to be January 27th at 3 p.m. And Michael O'Sullivan has agreed to chair this committee. And certainly we ask anyone who loves to plan and think about creative things to join. We will be meeting on a regular basis, but you all would decide what those dates would be. There's a lot of activities that are thinking about being planned, and I think you've seen flyers out in the community looking at some of the possibilities. So Michael's looking for about another 8 to 10 people. So please think about it and join on the 27th of January at 3 p.m. in the classroom. It is Martin Luther King Civil Rights Day across the country. It is the name that the New Hampshire state has given. So it's Martin Luther King Jr. Civil Rights Day. So I'm going to read just a little honor of Martin Luther King. And I do want to remind you that tomorrow morning at 11 here in Tremont, there's going to be a documentary about Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King Jr. stands as a beacon of hope, courage, and unwavering commitment to justice. His powerful words and nonviolent actions ignited a movement that reshaped America's moral and civil landscape. Dr. King's dream of equality transcended racial barriers, inspiring generations to strive for a more just society and build our civil rights. His eloquent speeches, from the steps of the Lincoln Memorial to the streets of Birmingham, continue to resonate, reminding all of us of the power of love to overcome hate. Though his life was tragically cut short, Dr. King's legacy endures, challenging us to confront injustice, embrace diversity, and work tirelessly for the world where character and not color defines a person's worth. His vision remains a guiding light, urging all of us to build bridges of understanding and compassion across all divides. There are a number of activities today, but you're all here, so we won't talk about those, that the town is going to be developing to celebrate America 250, that the school district's going to do, that of course the state's going to do, and some of you were with us a week or so ago when there was a Zoom presentation presented by the New Hampshire Historical Society, but through the Exeter Historical Society, and it was a Zoom in here. A lot of you attended, and it was very well done. Also, some of us went to UNH Library last week to visit this special exhibit that they have there on documentation from the 16 and 1700s that are archived at UNH. Also, this coming Saturday on the 24th, the Durham Historical Society is going to hold a program in the Town Council chambers presented by Tim Kerr, who is a Revolutionary War historian, and he's going to talk specifically about research in regards to what's Durham's actions during that time period. So I would highly recommend just keep watching the electronic bulletin board and watch for all the activities that will be available to us, and Michael's committee will work on through the year. Resident council election, it's going to be spring, I promise you, and there is an election coming up. Nominations, as you know, come from you. And that nomination period is Monday, February 16 through Tuesday, March 3. You'll be getting nomination forms in your cubbies. There's also a self-nomination process that we would love to have you consider. Voting on those nominations will take place between Friday, March 27 to Monday, April 6th, and then the people that become residents on the resident council will be announced. The resident council itself, of course, you know, stays out of this election process, but we do kick it off. And there's going to be a meeting that Susan and I do on January 27th at 10 a.m. in Ray's Place for any person, any resident who's interested in running for the resident council to come talk to us about what that all entails. So please think about that. Again, that's next Tuesday, I believe, January 27th at 10 a.m. in Ray's Place. I mentioned in the November all-resident meeting that we were going to be including newfound residents in the voting this year. I had told you that the resident council had affirmed that residents of Newfound are also supported and part of the resident council. Any one of us that live here under a residence and care contract are represented by the resident council. So this is a new part of our voting this coming spring. And certainly Community Life is going to be helping us with that. We don't know how many voters there may be from Newfound, but we certainly are going to make every effort to feel that they are, help them feel that they are included. To that end, and because in 2 years, we're probably going to have another 80 residents in our community, as Phase 2 brings itself to operating 2 wonderful, beautiful apartment buildings. The resident council has decided that we probably should increase the size of our election committee from its current 5 residents to 7 residents. So that takes a bylaw change, and our resident association at the annual meeting makes that decision. So at this point, there's 2 ways to do that. We can do a vote during the annual meeting where 2/3 of those people present, of those residents present, make the decision as to whether we make a change in the bylaws from 5 people on the resident council to 7, or we can do it by ballot. So we'll be looking at that, but it will be something that we will present. We, the resident council, will present to you, the residents, to see whether we should expand the election committee. You know they do a lot of hard work, and as we increase our resident numbers, I think it's worthy, and they think it's worthy. Also, another election, and this one is for at-large resident trustee. On the CCRC board, there are resident trustees and at-large resident trustees. And as you know, Deb Carmosen is our resident trustee to the CCRC board. Deb, are you here today? No, okay. But there is an opening now for the at-large resident trustee on the CCRC governing board. And what that allows to happen is that we here in Durham, also in Manchester, and also in Exeter, each one of the campuses will nominate one person from here that we feel should be an at-large resident trustee. Those nominations go to the CCRC governing board by April 1st. So nominations come from you, and so soon, probably at the beginning of February, we'll be putting in a nomination form into your copies if you have anyone that you would like to nominate to be an at-large resident trustee on the CCRC governing board. Going back to our own election, just so you know, I know it's been publicized, there's 5 seats open on our resident council this spring, and they are all 2-year terms. So please think about running. We won't twist your arms, and if you come to the meeting on the 27th, we'll welcome you with coffee and cookies and won't twist your arm either. But please think about joining us. Certainly serving on the resident council is a worthwhile community service. Save the date. Last November, as you know, we had a meeting about the updates on Phase 2 and what the architects were looking at. At that time, both the Resident Council and the Resident Finance Committee asked Kevin Goyette, our CFO, if he would come and talk with all of our residents about the financial overview for Phase 2, to be sharing with us about the cost of building, to be sharing with us the information about how the funding is going for that, and also to talk to us about the benefits of our expansion, which there are financial benefits for our expansion. So definitely put this date on your calendar, because Kevin and Natalie and Pat O'Keefe, who's the Senior Director for Capital Development, will be coming to talk to us at 2 o'clock Thursday, March 19th here in Tremont. And I promise you it'll be very interesting. Yes, we try to do them all, barring any technical difficulties, absolutely. No, it's really important information. Don't want to promise what I can't control, but yes. I think that's about it. We hope you see the worthiness of running for the Resident Council, and we also think you'll see the worthiness, we hope, of expanding the election committee for the Resident Council. And now I'll pass this over to Natalie.
Thank you, Jeannie. Good afternoon, everyone. A snowy afternoon. You decided to join us. I'm Natalie Belanger, your Executive Director, and my most important update is a few pictures. This is my son, Levi. He's almost 8 months old, 18 pounds, loves most fruits and vegetables at this point, maybe not avocado. And if you ask my husband, he's about as tall as I am. So we'll see if he gets dinner tonight after that comment. Just a few updates from me today. To start, Jeannie already shared the good news about the Phase 2 financial update, which is on March 19th with Kevin, Pat, and I. We also have Through the Eyes of the CFO coming up next Monday, January 26th at 2 p.m. right here. And that's an annual presentation that you don't want to miss, hosted by Kevin. Speaking of financial details, FY27 budget planning is underway. So if the directors and managers seem a little bit absent from the floor, it's because I have them planning for this upcoming budget season. And more to follow there, but we will have our in-person off-site excursion as we did last year with the other communities to really hone in on cost-saving synergies and just more of a collaborative effort in budget planning. So more to follow there. And I kick off the intro to budget presentation next month, I believe it is. So look forward to seeing that as well. This went out in last week's Community Connections, but it's your e-call system reminder. When you press your pendant, which you should always have on you, particularly when you're on campus, is you will see a red light. So you'll see that on the right-hand side here. When you press it, it will turn red. It will not stay red. If you're concerned that the red button did not flash, press it again. You can press it 1,000,000 times. But what that does, it alerts the actual system that goes forward to the team that's responding to the e-call. So if you're able to look at the pendant as you're pressing it to ensure the red light is being pressed, that is really helpful to us. As a reminder, we do always go to your apartment first, followed by the other 2 locations identified through our system. It gives a generalized location of where you are in the community. When you're out and about in the community, if you're having an emergency then or another resident is, please press a help button. That helps us to better identify where you are. I think Caitlin gave the example last week or the week before, especially when you're in places like the wood shop. Clicking that button will really give us a firm idea of where you are during that emergent situation. Additionally, there are pull cords in all of the bathrooms. Those function the same way. You can always call 911 yourself. I'll repeat that. You can always call 911 yourself. You don't have to wait for us. What's helpful is if you call 911 and you press your pendant, we can help escort emergency personnel to where you are. And lastly, just a reminder, there are some safeguards in place that if an e-call is not responded to within a certain time frame, once it reaches that time frame, there is a group of folks who get an email, an initial email saying this e-call has not been responded to within X amount of time, and then we receive a notification every 2 minutes until that e-call is responded to. And I'm happy to say I'm a participant or a contender of receiving these emails, so I'm actually able to call in at any time of day, even if it's 2 o'clock in the morning, for example. Maybe I've done that before, to say, hey, what's going on here? Can you truly not find this resident? The security personnel could be performing CPR or first aid, and they may not be resetting it quickly, so you get where I'm going here. But the moral of the story is press that pendant, look for the red light, and if you're in a common area space, press a help button or pull a e-call cord as well to help the team moving forward. If you're having any issues with your pendants or you're concerned that there is a time lag in response to e-calls, please reach out to Devin or Ryan so that they can test the pendant and ensure that it is functioning properly. Just out of curiosity, any questions around pendant usage, e-call response? The question is, do the e-call pendants work on the trails? The response is no. So please bring a fully charged cell phone with you when going on the walking trails. Okay, a couple more questions. This is good. The question was, how will the e-call pendants work when the new buildings are open? The same way as it does here, but the staffing may look a little different for those responding to the e-calls with 80 more potential residents joining us. Thank you. Jody asked, what is a help button? And luckily, this is like Wheel of Fortune, Vanna White over here. This is a help button right here. I'm going to move this out of the way. This right here is a help button. When you press it, just like your e-call pendants, there's a light on top that flashes red, so you know that the team has been alerted. Okay, so you'll see those at least one in every common area, in the pull cords, again, in the bathroom stalls. And again, it just helps to better locate where the emergency is happening. Okay, we could go through these what ifs all afternoon. Val is available with the microphone, by the way, but I'll answer this one to say Sharon shared that her pendant went off, but she had never pressed it. So sometimes they are accidental, I will say. But again, it's good for the team to respond to see if there's an issue with the pendant. We've also had times where folks are getting into their car and they are crouched down, getting in their car, press the pendant, and drive off. So then we have an entire team of folks looking for that person, not chasing after the vehicle, of course, but using their cell phones to try to call that person and get a hold of them. So there's been a few different kinds of situations. So again, it's up to my team to respond in a timely manner to the e-calls, but we should have been working to test your pendant to ensure that there was nothing wrong with it. We also do the pendant check clinics, which I'm sure we have one coming up on the horizon. We're doing those twice a year now, and that's another opportunity to have your pendant checked. I would just add, if you're ever curious if your pendant is working, you can always check in with a member of the facilities team, security included, overnight, and they'll test it for you right then right there in front of you. Okay, moving on from pendants. Maybe. Okay, you can tell when Lauren's not here because I'm responsible for technology. Okay. Meeting adjourned. No. Hold on one sec. Let me test something. Unplug it and plug it back in. All right, talk amongst yourselves. Hey, Val, can you grab another laptop, please? Thank you. Whole laptop. Yeah. Oh, never mind. Something worked. Okay, I get to keep my job, and Lauren is not allowed to be sick anymore. Okay, so we should be good, but still getting that charger is great. Okay. So, quickly running through online pay portal, Shelly and I sent out a communication to you all letting you know that we're moving forward with a new platform, which was selected by our IT and finance team, Transact Care. The model was chosen based on the fact that it was supportive to our residents, those who will be utilizing it, the pricing of it, the PCC integration, which is our medical records platform, the security of the application, as well as ease of use. We're planning right now for implementation across the system. We're doing it in a phased approach, starting with Riverwoods Manchester, which is scheduled to get going at the end of this month. It will then move to Durham and then to Exeter. So what's changing? What do you need to know? Paper statements will be discontinued. Your monthly statements will be available via email and on Icon. Payments made each month can be made through the portal itself, Transact Care, or through your ACH, which you may already have going now. There will be no more paper checks going to finance. This is really to help streamline the process from a finance perspective. They spend a lot of manual labor right now working with checks. Resident access and support. I would, of course, add with any new application similar to the process we had with Icon, Community Life, the front desk, folks in campus services will be available to help you with utilizing this new service, and also Roberta will continue visiting our community and she can be available as well for you. So more information to follow. This will be a transition, but we've been trying to let you know each month to remind you that this is coming. So more information to follow soon, and I'm sure there'll be some lessons learned from Riverwoods Manchester's new rollout, and I'll be sure to share any learnings there with you as well. Moving right along to Tembo. Telehealth, I sent out a communication last week that we will not be incorporating Tembo into the FY27 budget or any telehealth service this year, but I wanted to just review the responses with you. So we had 115 surveys completed, which was about 43% of our residents. Our first question, should Riverwoods Durham invest in a 12-month pilot with Tembo Telehealth for $48,000? As a reminder, initially when Tembo was brought forward, it was an $18,000 investment. That was when Exeter and Manchester were also moving forward. Went back to Tembo, they said without the other two communities, it would be $48,000. So that was an update there. Of that, 91% of you said, no, we should not invest in that. Which non-emergency medical services would you want to, if Tembo was offered? And the number one response there was that triage service or medical advice, non-emergency medical advice from that board-certified physician. Are you willing to share your medical and insurance information with the wellness clinic? 60% said yes. These were all good for planning purposes for us to know how the system would be best would be best used, and also the preparation that goes in to utilizing Tempo. For it to be most successful, we needed all this documentation, medical history, insurance information up front. And that was really only a benefit to all of you as well. Do Riverwoods Durham local and personal health resources meet your needs? 92% said yes. And the themes of the open-ended responses, which there were 35 of them, were as follows. Current resources are sufficient. Folks felt as though existing clinic services, insurance offerings through telehealth, as well as local urgent care opportunities are meeting the needs of our residents. Weekend coverage is the primary gap. Some suggested that a limited weekend nurse pilot could be a benefit to our community. And with that, I really would like to go through this year's annual resident satisfaction survey to better understand if there is a gap there. Cost concerns. Tempo is viewed as too expensive or not fairly allocated. Primarily optional and self-pay approaches, mainly prefer optional or self-pay approaches. Technology limitations. Some residents find that technology is difficult to use. I just want to remind everyone, with that, we would have had available iPads through the library and team members equipped to help residents 24/7 with accessing appointments through the telehealth application. Educational value, the presentations, most recently by Caitlin, increase understanding and reduce anxiety around after-hours care. Primary preferences, some prefer limiting sharing their medical information. And low perceived need, many saw that there was little value from adding Tempo overall. I have some learnings too that I want to share, and first is thank you, because I saw a lot of engagement and curiosity throughout the community through the listening sessions. One early on identified question throughout those sessions were, does Riverwoods Durham truly have a gap or a need for additional wellness services? I think it's always important, and you'll hear me say it each year, to start with education. And we learned that through the listening sessions too, that folks really wanted reminders on what was available to them through their current providers. And with that, we are dedicated now to an annual wellness education series, which is navigating your health and wellness resources tied into the wellness orientation, which Caitlin had already been offering, but it was very well attended this last time around, and I think we have an opportunity to advertise it as we did last time so that folks can come and join us to learn more. With that, Caitlin shared her Navigating Your Wellness and Health Resources tool with the green and red, and I think there's yellow on there, which we still have available through Icon and in the Wellness Clinic, where you can put your own phone numbers in as well, and a resource you can keep right on your fridge if you choose to. Listening circles were a great opportunity. I think folks liked the ability to ask questions and talk amongst each other, and we learned something different at each of those, so I hope to see more of those in the future. We learned more about residents wanting to know where that volunteer list of drivers is located. So I highlighted it here. It's on Icon under Resident Life, Resident Volunteer Drivers. We also learned, Caitlin and I did anyway, of that local opportunity for on-demand telehealth as well through Brigham and Women's. And lastly, we realized that we need to change the underlying resident satisfaction survey question, which really is misleading, as it states availability of after-hours/weekend non-emergency medical services. Obviously, you're going to answer that one way because we don't offer them right now. We simply offer what we have through our security, which is CPR and first aid to e-call response only. Okay? So in the future years, we're going to change that to really be rates based on services provided rather than availability of services after hours. So that's what I have as far as Tempo goes. And I'd love to take any questions, and Valerie is going to walk around with a microphone, so if you could please wait for her.
I'll also mention that the list of volunteer drivers is posted in the resident mailroom always. It doesn't come down.
Thank you.
My recollection is the reason we got to the telehealth issue was because some dissatisfaction with the service hours, the wellness center, particularly on weekends. So let me toss a number out. Telehealth was going to be what, 48 or 8,000? How does 5,000 a month sound, which would provide weekend service? 2 hours on Saturday, 2 hours on Sunday. Payment would be $1,000 to a nurse. I think if that's not enough, let's double the 9,000, 1,000 an hour.
Are you referring to a nurse available in the wellness clinic for
Exactly.
a certain amount of
2 hours
times?
on Saturday, 2 hours on Sunday. Can't believe that would not be welcome. I'm thinking the charge per resident affected my 25 to.
I'd have to certainly double check the numbers. I think we have an opportunity. As I mentioned, my thought process is that we wait until this year's upcoming, just based on this information, this survey, and feedback that's been provided to me directly. We'd wait until this year's survey, which is coming out in July, to get a little bit more information to truly see, again, if there is a gap there. And I agree. We had talked about the different case scenarios where I believe it was 4 hours Saturday and Sunday was an option as a case scenario. And I have mentioned, too, that I wouldn't be opposed to piloting that as well. Again, it's not going to be allocated by resident. It would be allocated per monthly service fee by apartment. But it's certainly something we can continue looking at. His microphone's not working. In the last survey, didn't one of the open-ending responses include weekend coverage as the primary gap? Yes. I will say there was probably 4 people who wrote in that that is what the gap is. So again, when I'm looking at totality of the community, I want to be sensitive to the overall respondents. But this is not the first time that I've heard that it would, of course, be nice to have nurses on the weekends. I know, and I've said this in the listening sessions too, I know the dream would be have them 24/7, 365 days a year, but that's just not sustainable or feasible. But if the community reaches a consensus that a weekend nurse would be beneficial, even for 4 hours Saturday, 4 hours on Sunday, I would be willing to pilot something to that effect.
Right. Actually, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Yeah. I'm talking about 2 hours. 2 hours. Could we crunch the numbers, find out what it would be residents per month?
I'm not sure that having someone come in for 2 hours would be worth our while. And I think 2 hours leads to 4 hours, leads to 6 hours, leads to 8 hours. You see where I'm going with that. I just don't know if it would be worth it, particularly if the nurses are helping residents, even through our home health program with wound care or medication support. It takes time to do those things. So if they only come in for 2 hours, they only may be helping 2 residents, for example. Which I'm not saying is nothing. Believe me, I know that is an impact. But when I think of someone coming in, I would want it to be for more time to help as many residents who need it after hours and on the weekends. Does that make sense? Okay. So more work to come around this. I know this is not a closed book, but I would say maybe it's a closed chapter if I could reference that way.
Since you're switching to paperless, could I still pay my monthly card then?
That's a great question. I believe you can, but I will confirm. The question was, sorry, the microphone doesn't seem to be working. Can I still pay my monthly service fee via credit card even though you're paperless? I believe the answer is yes, but I will confirm and get back to you. Any other questions or thoughts for me? We'll have more time for questions at the end as well. All right, well then without further ado, Mrs. Allison Walsh.
Hello, everyone. I've got some exciting things happening up in Ray's Place. I think a lot of you have already seen it, but we got the painting done last week. We went with the green accent wall by the TV, and then we lightened it up in the rest of the space. So I think it looks good. Hope you all agree. And then hot off the truck, literally this morning, we got 2 new chairs that will be placed up there as soon as we get those unpacked, and they're up there. Ooh, even better. I'm going after. I know what I'm doing after this. And then Devin and his team are working on installing the sound panels this week. So we are very close to wrapping up that project. Just wanted to give a reminder, personal decorations should be limited to your apartment niches only. We had a lot of rogue holiday decor around the building this winter, and I'm let it go, but let's get back on track with that, particularly as we have a lot of tours coming through the building. It's really important that we look our best and look cohesive throughout the whole community and stick with the rules. Next CapEx projects. It's cold and snowy outside, but I'm thinking about spring already. We are going to be doing some upgrades to the dining terrace, which is the space just off the left side of the bistro by Glenn and Bonnie's office. This we're going to work on upgrading with some newer furniture that will work for casual and for dining space, using the same company that we used for the new benches. They have some cushioned options as well, so we'll be doing a mix of things out there, and I will be looking for some feedback before we put final pieces together, but excited to upgrade this space and make it more of a destination, particularly as we look at phase 2. Want to make sure that we still have a nice outdoor space option as we roll into renovations. The other thing I'm going to be working on is some guest suite refreshes, similar to Ray's Place, just a quick facelift and making sure that we really have all the pieces in those spaces that we need for your family and friends when they come to visit. Over the years, we've gotten some feedback on some things and added things here and there, but if you have any feedback that you'd like to share with me on that, I'll be reaching out as well once we get closer to that time and I have some decisions to make, but looking forward to giving those a little makeover. And I've got a new challenge for you all, and it's called Bios for Brunch. Larry Mann, I'm looking at you. You don't. And you know what's going to happen? You're not going to get an omelet station unless you get your bio done. If you don't know this, Larry has been bugging Glenn and me and anyone else that will listen about bringing the omelet stations back since we stopped doing them years ago, but only for 4 years. It hasn't been that long. In any case, we are doing our next push for Icon, which is going to be completing your profile and your bio. Why is this important? It's important for the team side of things, for reporting and for connecting you with other potential new friends in the community. It'll be important as we look to integrate phase 2 residents and finding, new friends that really like underwater basket weaving, Teresa's got somebody that loves to do underwater basket weaving. If I didn't have all of those profiles filled out, I wouldn't know that Larry's super into that. All right, so to do this, we currently have 12.5% of the bios complete in Icon. We want to get to 75%. We are hosting some bio workshops. It's really pretty simple to do this yourself at home, but these will be some drop-in workshop sessions for the next 6 weeks. Once we've gotten through all of those, and if we get to our 75%, we will have a midweek brunch. And we're talking all the fixings. Omelet station, Bloody Mary bar, the whole shebang. Something fun to get us over the winter hump, beginning of March. And I expect you all to work on that. If anybody needs any help, I know Larry would be happy to come to your apartment and help you. All right, I'm done. You can relax, Larry. One last reminder for you all. Linda Bresnahan has been hosting a monthly support group for family members in Newfound Lodge. Please join us for that. And any questions for Community Life? Okay. Oh. Yes, George.
Know if this relates to you, but the other day I was on the elevator up going to assisted care for my breakfast. Anyway, the floor was totally wet in the elevator, and then when I got off, somebody had mopped that whole area. So it was really scary. I don't know what you could do. Maybe have a dry mop in there. That I wouldn't mind mopping it, but I didn't know what to do because it was so slick.
Okay, yeah, for sure. There should have been a wet floor sign if it had just been cleaned, which I'm sure Jen's making note of in the back of the space here. But that's something. Alert one of the team. Press your pendant if you're, if it's a concern of that caliber, then we want to make sure that we take care of it too. So you could certainly press the pendant for it and get somebody to respond, or go to the nearest department that you're near. Talk with Glenn, or Linda's right off the elevator there too, into supportive living. So see something, say something is the bottom line. Okay? See what he's on the other side here. We're getting Val's steps in today.
As you were scrolling through, at the very bottom of the slide, which talked about no decorations, there was something about headphones for hearing assistance.
Oh, you're right. I did put that on there. I forgot all about that.
There it is.
Hearing headsets coming soon to Tremont. So there is a app that will sometimes work with your hearing aid. The challenge with that Val has worked with a few residents on is your hearing aids have to have Bluetooth capability, and not all residents know that whether they do or not. So what we have done is ordered several headsets that will be available in the back of the space that will work regardless. So once those are here, we'll do some testing with some residents and make an announcement and share any process that goes along with it. Val, do you have anything more you want to add to that?
Well, with my experience working with residents, is hearing aids, Bluetooth-enabled hearing aids now, it's on their own phone, and they have their own app for their hearing aid. So it's some kind of disconnect between our app and their app.
Yeah.
So I would recommend residents talk to their audiologist or whoever they get hearing aids.
Yeah. Okay. So one more feature for you. Okay. And now we got Miss Jenny.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jenny, and the Director of Health Services, as you well know, over in Newfound Lodge. I just wanted to talk a little bit about what we've got going on. We've been chosen to pilot a digital vital signs monitor. It looks like this right here. Pretty cool. I love technology. You know about my bladder scanner obsession. This is my new obsession. I want to make sure that we're staying technologically up to date so that you're getting the services that you deserve when you need them. The nice thing about digital monitoring is vital signs monitoring does have parameters, but it's also about comparison. And each person takes vital signs in different ways, and it can change how tight the cuff is on, what their hearing is, the quality of equipment that they're using. So that's the nice thing about these digital, is it standardizes those so that when you do a comparison to the previous sets, that's a lot of times what we're looking at when you're having health conditions or health problems, especially with chronic illness, with congestive heart failure, respiratory problems, things that exacerbate. So just a cool new machine we're trying out. We got chosen to try it. And the other part that's really cool is that this feeds directly into our medical record. So instead of the nursing assistants getting everybody up, getting them to breakfast, and then doing vital signs, as soon as they do those vital signs, ping, it's in the chart. So the nurse can see those at any time. So it's just really nice, and it cuts down on wasted time that our staff is able to feed back to you. You get that time in person, which is great. So we'll see if we like them. We're the ones testing it. So it's not a yes yet, but we're going to try them. So our dementia training, so that we can become a memory care certified facility, we had to reach 50% of all the nursing staff to be certified, and we've reached that goal. So 50% of nursing is now certified. That's just the beginning. I will continue to train everyone we have because everybody needs that knowledge. And then, you know, when people come and go, then we'll make sure that we maintain that without any stress or worry, okay? So we can go, oh, I'm supposed to run it myself. This is concerning, I'm not gonna lie. Here, let me try this. There we go. And I just wanted to tell you, each time I come, I'm going to share a little bit more about services maybe you don't know that we provide. We obviously provide wonderful breakfast in Newfound. I have some visitors there every day, and my office is on 3rd floor, so you have to come by my office, knock, or leave a sticky note on my office, okay? So we do offer some services on site. Mind you, we do not provide these services. These services have been contracted with an outside provider, which means you have to give permission for them to come see you by consent, and then you give them your insurance information and they bill your insurance directly, but they can come and see you right in the building. It's so helpful. Audiology, we have dermatology that comes, geriatric psychiatry, which is Generations is the name of it. Podiatry comes. And we also, when I started in March, I started working with June. Some of you, does anybody know June, the foot nurse over here? I know she serves, some people in the community already. June actually does a clinic in our 1st floor clinic and sees multiple patients to do foot and toenail care, which is really important. So these services are services that are provided right on site if you choose, and they bill through your insurance. Just makes it easy peasy, okay? These visits do require, of course, consent and are billed through your insurance, like I said. Any questions? So you would say, hey, I think I want to see the on-site podiatry. Then we just put you on the list. They reach out to you, get your billing information. That's it. You need to be a Newfound resident. That's when you're on Newfound. Sorry. Makes you want to come there, though, doesn't it? That's my job. So.
So you do have to be admitted to Newfound Lodge as a
Yes,
resident to
you
receive
do.
these services.
So
But we have very
sorry.
similar services here in through the Wellness Clinic. Basically we have access to most all on this list. I'm actually looking into the geriatric psychiatry option after having a few conversations about that. So yeah, so if you're interested, if you're an independent living resident, you're interested in these services, contact the Wellness Clinic and we can refer you or get you signed up, let you know how that works through the Wellness Clinic as well. But I think it's great also to highlight that when you are a resident in Newfound Lodge, because it can sometimes be difficult to leave, transportation, things like that, it's nice that we also have these services come to the lodge to see residents in their suites.
Any other questions? All right, I'll hand it over to Caitlin. Do you want me to try to do your thing? There you go.
I think this picture is going to haunt me for a long time. No, I'm just kidding. All right, Caitlin Knapp. I'm the nurse practitioner in the wellness clinic. I don't have too much to discuss today, but I know it's been talked about a few times, especially leading up to the Tembo decision, but if you missed it, I had that all-resident meeting on January 5th about navigating your health and wellness resources. It is on Icon. I think it's worth watching if you did miss that meeting because I think there was a lot of clarity. It was a good synopsis of what medical services we have in this local area. And sometimes it can be a little overwhelming navigating that. And I think that we broke it down in a nice way, and it's a good resource to have, especially in conjunction with the tool that I created. The main thing that I just wanted to discuss is I do have a lot of stuff that's going to be coming up, or a lot of events, I should say, that will be coming up over the year that I'm planning. But I did have to reschedule my discussion on thyroid dysfunction from December, so I will be having a health education series regarding that next month in February. Just working on the exact date and time because this room is quite busy. And apparently that month I was kind of out. I missed a lot of bookings, so I'm just getting the schedule squared away. But I want to say thank you for everybody that filled out my survey regarding health education topics. I've reached out to some local providers, and I'm really excited about some guest speakers that I'm going to have come in. I might be getting an orthopedic surgeon to come talk about joint replacements, which I'm really excited about, and a diabetic nurse educator that got back to me about coming in. So, and then of course me, I'm going to be doing some topics myself, but I'm really excited for what's to come. So just keep your eyes out regarding the health education series. And then just a friendly reminder, most people are aware that the flu has been a rough one this go around, flu A in particular. And so just a reminder of the respiratory virus guidelines that we use through the CDC. They have not changed. We have copies of this in the wellness clinic if you'd like one. It is also posted on Icon, but it just gives you some information on what to do when you're not feeling well. Of course, trying our best to keep our community as healthy as possible. But you can always call the wellness clinic and we can talk you through things and try to support you the best way possible. So, all right, that's all for me. Any questions for me? No. All right. Everyone's going to be running over to Newfound Lodge for those services, so. All right, facilities is up next. Devin?
I don't think I've ever introduced myself in any of these meetings before. Everybody else is. So my name's Devin Lockley, Director of Facilities, but hopefully, thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, so starting off, I think most people know that we are painting the B building wings, the CDE. They've already done raised place and they've been on the 4th floor. They're now on the 3rd floor. That is going to keep progressing until we move all the way through all of those floors, and then they're going to start moving towards, they're going to do the library, the main commons, the entrance, Piscataqua room, all the way over till you get to the A elevator, and which is elevator number 1. And then they're going to go paint all the way to the back of the house, all the way to the number 4 elevator, which will take you to Newfound Lodge. So complete painting scheme. I don't have a time frame when that will end, but it'll be sometime probably in early spring, I would imagine. And spring is March 21st, so that's not that far away. Speaking of spring, we're going to do window washing this year, finally. Okay, thank you, Natalie. It'll be done, our fiscal year ends on June 30th. It will be done in probably May, if not early June. But I want to see how fast we can get through the pollen season, whatever dust accumulates, and try to have it so when the sun shines in the summer, you can see out. Pardon me. We already did the preventive maintenance for the fall for the HVAC, which unfortunately fall to them seems to be December. So I've had a conversation with them about trying to get back on a schedule so it's a rotational basis, 6 months. I have a meeting with them this week on that and other things that I have to accomplish. That will be part of my capital project going forward, which happens to be upgrades for HVAC where it's necessary, but I haven't gotten there yet. A lot to do with CapEx. In March, going to make a final walk because I've done this exercise a couple times. Always go back and see something that I never saw before, that a failed window. I'm sure everyone knows what they look like at this point. People have had those. I did one round and walked around and found 50 more. It's just one of these recurring things that are going to happen. It's a warranty issue, so it's not an expense to us. It's just an inconvenience all the way around, especially putting a lift on the slope over in the AB wings. That's tough when they have the upper sashes. But anyway, I'm going to make a final count and then go back to the original contractor, put that in. Hopefully we can get something scheduled with them in a quick turnaround time, but stay tuned for that. The last piece, I think we talked about fire alarm before in the past. So what I want to do is now, coming up in early February, we're going to do an educational series, floor by floor, wing by wing, okay? And we're going to have, we'll offer it a couple times, but I don't want to do it too many times, so I'd love it if we have a period where everybody that, say you're on the 4th floor, D wing, we're going to meet. And then we'll go through, at the most, 15 minutes. Question period, answer period, and any details and information you need to have. So when we do have the event, you'll know where to go and you know what to do. The other piece of this is that we are going to do a drill, and it's not going to be today, but we are going to do a drill on a decent day. It's announced. You're going to know. But everybody's going to take their exercise book they had. I'm not going to ask everybody to sign off, which I would love to do. But just understand what your responsibilities are when that time comes, okay? As far as the grounds, I think you're self-evident what's going on. I hope you like the green sidewalks. I do. That means that I'm not going to go down, and I don't think anybody else will. And I want to keep it that way through the season. We did some environmental pieces that were necessary for phase 2 that was asked for. So we had to do catch basin cleaning. And we also did, and this, which I didn't highlight, which was porous pavement vacuuming. And we have to do that twice a year. Does everyone know where the porous pavement is? Have you seen it before? Okay. And then the exterior repairs, minor stuff, but you know, we have people that do, which is great. Everybody that's out early, dog walkers or anybody at night, they recognize there's a light out. We've repaired all of those. I don't think there's one, unless I'm surprised if there is. By the numbers, we have closed 314 work orders in December. We do a lot of work orders, but there's also a metric behind us doing all these work orders. And I'm working with the other 2 communities. What my philosophy is, if we don't know what we have by work orders put in, we don't know what we've accomplished putting it out. So you may have something we ask, and it could be the most mundane thing. We say, can you please put a work order in? Most people say, hey, can you change the light bulb? Big deal, but we need to track it. We just need to know what our metrics are going to be. So if we do ask, put a work order in, please put a work order in. And that's all I have. And John Hutt?
Any questions for Devin while he's up here with us? Are we allowed to build snowmen?
Not on the sidewalk, but yeah.
Great question.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jennifer Hunt, housekeeping manager. I'm going to talk to you about, I don't know if you've seen him around, but he started on the 13th, and that is Kyle. He is now a full-time employee with us in housekeeping. And then we have part-time housekeeper starting on the 9th, which is Mateo. So you'll see them both around the campus. Make sure to say hi. Deep cleanings have begun again. We have 4 scheduled for the end of this month, and then we're going into February with more deep cleanings as well. And carpet cleanings in dining have resumed, along with more common area carpet cleanings will continue as well. Any questions for housekeeping? Okay, next topic. Some of you may have heard about the apartment refresh program, which is the 7-year apartment refreshes. We have started that. We have completed one. One has been completed, and that was on January 9th. we have 25 that are budgeted for the year of 2026. I'll be reaching out to you individually by your move-in date. So I have a list of when you moved in, and I will be going in order of that move-in list. The refreshes include carpet. So if you have carpet, living room, bedroom, we would replace those for the exact same carpet that you have, or paint. Paint is also included with bedrooms and living rooms as well. You can choose to do just a bedroom, you can choose to just do carpet, or you can choose to just do paint, so you can do partials. It's up to you, or you can choose to not do it at all. If you do choose to move forward with a refresh of your apartment, you do have to vacate your apartment for up to 2 weeks for us to do the work. We will provide you with a guest suite if one is available, or an off-site hotel for that time. Does anyone have questions about this?
I would just add, for the totality of the project, your belongings are also moved by a mover and placed off-site storage for a period of time that Riverwoods also covers. Okay, so not a great thing to be displaced, but that is covered by Riverwoods. If you decide to move forward, a partial or a full, we will remove your belongings as necessary and store them off-site. Okay, and bring your apartment back to its standard, i.e. you might have your favorite picture hanging on the right-hand wall. We'll make sure it gets back on that right-hand wall in the same spot that it was prior to the refresh.
So I will be taking pictures of everything in your apartment to make sure it's put back the exact same way when it's done.
Will the outside of the apartment door be painted as part of this or as part of the hallway clean painting?
That will not be included in the refresh. That could either be a work order. Devin gave me a thumbs up to the work order.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are you confirming that apartment doors are being painted during, okay. So the current painting, big painting project going on, C, D, and E wings on each floor, they are painting apartment doors. So let's wait until that gets over with, and then if you still need a work order, you know how to put one in either through the front desk or on your own through Icon. Thanks, Jen.
Thank you. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, what is the process for taking care of pets during this period?
So if your pets, if you have a pet and you are staying on site, we can accommodate you in a guest suite. And then if it's an off-site hotel, we would find one that would let you have your pet there. If not, you would have to find accommodations for that.
And allowing your pet to stay in a guest suite is something that I am waiving given the circumstances, so that's not a standard practice of ours. Pets are not allowed in the guest suites otherwise. If anyone has further questions for Jen around the apartment refresh program, if I could ask that you reach out to her directly. Otherwise, you'll hear from her directly when it's your time to have your apartment refreshed. Thank you. I think Glenn's up next.
I hope so. Thanks. Okay, before I get into this slide, I want to say two things. Larry, it took a lot of arm twisting to get that omelet station, so I expect you to get that bio done, okay? No, seriously, I hope everybody does that. We're looking forward to being part of that with Allison. The other thing is, I don't know whether you know or not tonight or not, but we do have beef bourguignon on, and we also have mushroom bourguignon. And there's been this rumor out there that the mushroom is actually beef. And I want to say no, I want to dispel that rumor. So I told Tyler that I would bring this in and show everybody. So this is a product that we get. It's a new product, but it is a mushroom. And it is, let's see the ingredients, it's shiitake mushroom based. So I can assure you that if you're ordering the vegetarian tonight, it is a mushroom product, okay? And I'll be happy to share this with you after if you'd like to see it. Okay, the other things are, so Rosemary's Restaurant reservations. So I just want to clarify on that. If your spouse or somebody is over there that you're visiting and you want to go to the third floor, you don't need a reservation. What we're really trying to do is just make sure that we're adequately equipped. If somebody like George wants to go over for breakfast, if somebody else wants to go over, we're just asking that you let us know ahead of time. That's why we put those parameters in place. So there was a night that we had an unplanned amount of folks up there, which is great, but we didn't have enough food and the staff were a little taken aback. So that's the reason for that. So if you have any questions about that, I can clarify it further for you. The holiday meal service, I think most of the feedback we got was great, that everybody really enjoyed it. And I think we're going to use that as our kind of a platform for going forward, where we're doing the plated meal service, and then kind of a little bit of a hybrid with some of the buffet service as well. So again, we'll be looking for more information on that, what you liked about it, what you didn't like, and to try to keep improving that. We're going to move into the next. This is 3 months worth of data from September to December. We got 56 responses from the SurveyMonkey. And so if you don't know where that is online. You can go into Icon, and it's within the dining platform. There's a link to it. And we're going to try to have our folks go around, have like Matt go around and do some table touches, and Bonnie, and just, see how we're doing. It was a great gauge of how we're doing in the moment. We don't want to wait until Holleran survey comes around. So this is overall satisfaction rate. Certainly room for improvement here at 31%. However, the next few slides are kind of confusing because the rate drops all the way down. So the quality of food, overall pretty good, 62, neutral 24, 14% unsatisfied. The variety of offerings, this is one we've struggled with a little bit, gotten better over the last 3 months, up to 71%. Special dietary requests, we have a lot of people that just opt out of this question because it doesn't pertain to them, but the folks that do seem to feel that we do have that and we provide that. Healthy options available to me, another one that we're really trying to work on more. Try to get more protein options and healthier options, particularly with salads and things. And it looks like we're moving in the right direction, but again, we can still always do more. And the quality of service, this one we always get a great feedback. So I think everybody loves the kids and their service. So we appreciate that, but we always still want to keep trying to improve that as well. And then finally, takeout food. That one's kind of an odd duck, and that's in the Holleran questions. I don't know where that came from, but that one seems to be okay. Everybody seems to be good with that. So, but as usual, if you want to make, give us any feedback, use that survey with SurveyMonkey. There's also free text in there for any comments and things. And we do take all the comments, list them off, send them to all the managers. Somebody, I think Betty had asked, we used to put out responses to them. We're going to get back to that as well, just so you hear what the responses are. So we will be doing that over the next few months, so you can look for that as well. And I think that was it for me. Does anybody have any questions for dining? George. The fake salt. There is George asked about the non-sodium chloride salts. We do have one if anybody wants it. It's potassium chloride is available. We do have a couple shakers of that, so if that's something that you're looking for, just ask and we can give you that. Okay, anything else? Okay, thank you. On to social services.
And I've had those mushrooms before, and they're really good. And I did have to ask, are they really beef? And they taste like beef, feel like beef, but they were not beef. So, plug from that one. All right. Well, I am Jen Merriam, Director of Social Services. Thank you for still being here and being patient with this. First things, got 4 mental health first aid trainings this year. I'm offering them once a quarter. It is an 8-hour session that we do, so it is a long day for that, but lots of information in there. We do need to have at least 6 people participate, so those are on Icon if you want to sign up for them. Starting this Wednesday, we've got our next book club. The The Book of Joy with the Dalai Lama and Desmond Tutu. They were together for a couple of days many years ago, and this book came out. I listened to a bunch of it this weekend, and I really enjoy it. So I think we're going to have some good conversations about that. Again, it's Wednesdays from 1 to 2 up in Ray's Place. Interns are back starting tomorrow. The school semester starts tomorrow. So they're going to be running still the women's talk group. Anna's running that, Stronger Memory. A 90s group, that's meant for people who are 90 or older. We're going to be ageist here to really kind of pull some people together. So you might be getting an invitation for that. So stay tuned. And continuing with supporting the Death Cafe, which is a monthly meeting the 4th Thursday of the month, 1 to 2:30 in Ray's Place. The grief group meets the 2nd Tuesday of the month in the living room in Newfound Lodge. And the memory support group will be going for 12 weeks this semester. And I think it starts next week because we had to get in all 12 weeks before the semester ends, which is now ending at the end of April. So there's that. New this year, new this semester, we have a UNH OT doctoral student that's going to be here with us. Her name is Kelly Mooney. So she's here for this. She's finishing up again her PhD in occupational therapy, and her focus is going to be on caregiver supports. And activity planning. And I love her focus on balancing health, wellness, happiness, and engagement. So I guess that's why it's a PhD and not a master's. It's a lot there. Another thing that we're doing this semester is the nursing consultant program. So a sophomore class for nursing students, I think it's Nursing 601. It's looking at older adults as through the lens of being an older adult. This is the 3rd time we're doing it. And we're looking for at least 30 consultants. So if you've done it before, please do it again. And if you haven't done it or weren't here when we did it before, please come Thursday night from 7 to 8. We're going to have a presentation with the professor to learn more about the program. But it's usually, you'd meet with your consultants. You'd get 3 or 4 consultants and meet with them for about an hour, a couple times over the course of the semester so they can practice asking people questions. People that have done it before have had a really positive experience. I know some of you are still in touch with your former consultants, so I think it can be a great intergenerational experience on both sides of that relationship. And if you want to sign up, you can sign up with me, either email me or sign up on Thursday if you want to come to the presentation Thursday night after dinner. That's it for me. Any questions? Oh. Yeah, so it's mental health first aid was a training that started in Australia, and it helps the common person understand different types of mental health situations and how to support other people. So it's really asking people like, are you okay? You don't seem yourself. So it's really, we're not going to be a clinician by the time that we're done with this, but really kind of opening up the conversation about different types of mental health. So it's not about dementia necessarily, but really about kind of other kind of mental health situations that people might be having. Yeah, so these are 4 different sessions. I'm just doing it quarterly. It's one 8-hour session. So if you've done one already, then you're good for 3 years. Yeah. Yeah, good. All right.
I would just add to that was actually a initiative that Jen had gone after the last all-resident satisfaction survey, knowing that more of you wanted to help some of your neighbors or maybe even help yourself. Jen got forward and got her mental health first aid training certification. So again, another gap that we felt like needed to be addressed, and that is one way that we're trying to meet that need in our community. And without further ado, very exciting update from Therese Lane in marketing.
Thank you, Nat. Yes, we've been very busy in marketing. I'll talk about phase 2 activity in a moment. For independent living, we have a new resident, Hope Miller, has joined the community. And the first week in February, we will have a new couple moving in next to Hope. And then we have another new resident that will be moving in a little under 2 months. And then the next apartment that was available is being offered to a couple. They're going through their health assessment. So exciting that we have new residents joining. We have 163 future residents on the wait list. That number keeps growing. 99% occupied. Supportive living, we are 85% occupied. We have 3 supportive living apartments on hold pending health assessments for those new residents, and 17 future residents on the supportive living wait list. So now I can turn to all the excitement around phase 2. We've been working on a lot of activities the last few months. On December 3rd, we kicked off the priority program, first for Riverwoods Durham future residents. And now the number's 163 on that wait list. It was a little less December 3rd, but we had 89 of those future residents sign up right away that they wanted to get a priority number. And some of the people that did not raise their hand to get a priority number, they're anticipating to be offered an apartment the next 2 years. So there was a lot of excitement about that. And we had on December 15th, we had the kickoff program for Riverwoods Exeter and Riverwoods Manchester future residents. As a result of that webinar, we had 31 Riverwoods Exeter future residents join the priority program and 2 Riverwoods Manchester future residents. And then on January 7th, we opened it up. We call it the general public, but it's still people that are in our database that are somewhat familiar with Riverwoods. And we have had 47 of those people sign up for the priority program. Now, them signing up, it's not yet a commitment. It's them just signing a form that says, please give me a priority number, so they have the opportunity to come in and have a meeting with us starting in March. Now, some of you may remember we call those conversion meetings. And a number of you in the beginning said, why do you want to convert us? We don't want to convert you religiously. We're using that name because our development partner, Greystone, uses that name. But just so you know, first we're having welcome webinars for these future residents end of January to share floor plans and pricing with them. And then February will really spell out what the process is for them going into these conversion meetings. And then March 2nd is when we will kick off beginning the conversion meetings. So what it really means to be in a conversion meeting, it means that someone is saying they want to take their name off of our wait list and reserve a specific new apartment. So we are converting them from being a wait list depositor to a reservation depositor. So it's very exciting. We have a lot of work we're working with a lot of people, a lot of interest in phase 2. So we will continue to update you as these meetings begin in March. So any questions?
Are the 2 lists completely separate, or are there overlaps between the 2 lists?
So they are separate. They're separate. We have our original wait list, and then we have this priority list where, again, no one has made a commitment yet. So when they come in and sit down with us, in the beginning of March, in those meetings, that's when we will ask them, do you specifically want to remove your name and remove your deposit from this wait list and reserve a specific new apartment? So we have technology called Ingrain where we're going to be able to show them, and some of you may remember this very well, We'll be able to show them exactly where their new apartment is located, what floor it's on, and even what the view will be. So when those apartments are reserved, they will turn red. And then when the next person comes in, they will see the apartments that are left that are green. So it is, and they understand the importance of what their priority number is. They understand what they're asking us now specifically is, of course, we're going to have 4 different style apartments. We have a number of phone calls saying, how many people ahead of me want a Cocheco? What are my chances of getting one of the 9 Cocheco apartments? So we're having a lot of those detailed questions because they want to weigh what their possibility is to get into one of the new buildings. So we have just been very pleased with the enthusiasm and excitement that future residents and the general population have had for the new 55 apartments.
This might be a silly question, but when you say 123 future residents, that's individual residents, or do you count?
It is. We call it households.
Okay.
Households. So again, the number 123. It's 89 of them are Durham future residents. 31 are Exeter future residents, and 2 are Riverwoods Manchester future residents.
But does a couple count as one person or 2?
One. A couple counts as one person. Yeah. So when we give this number 163, that's 163 households. So we're only counting a couple as one person each time we tell you that number. We don't count the kids, Michael. We keep them at home. All right, any other questions? Okay.
Thank you, Therese. I think she was being humble. We're all about record breaking around here. And at that Riverwoods Durham launch on December 3rd, nearly all of those 89 folks had submitted to be a part of the priority program within 4 minutes. 4 minutes. 1, 2, 3, 4 minutes. So I'm not sure if there's any consultants out there tracking that level of detail, but that's pretty impressive to us, and we'll keep on that momentum as we move forward with phase 2. I have no further updates to share, but I just would open it up again the last time for any last minute questions that you have for me. I thank you very much and enjoy this snowy afternoon.